Hey, right over here. Let's go. Let's do some birding. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wings Over Water 2021. You probably all know what happened last year, and 2020 is a year we'll all try to forget, and maybe this year we'll be able to get rid of these and they talk to each other without wondering what we're really saying. This is the beginning of the Blaine waterfront tour that I've been doing for years for Wings Over Water. And basically what it entails is meeting here at the first rest stop and then walking to the end of the Jorgensen Pier, doing a total waterfront walk, and we'll end up right back where we started. We'll see lots of different birds, like for instance here at the tides going out, you have a potential to see shorebirds, lots of dabbling ducks. A little bit farther out, you'll see diving ducks. But as we progress along the shoreline, you have different habitats for different birds, and we'll point them out and we'll identify them as we go. And the main thing is to not get your expectations up too high. We see what we see. We don't plan on seeing anything. And that way everything is new and good. So let's get our binoculars strapped on, get your cameras ready, and let's head on down the trail. Common goldeneye and more surf scoters. As the tide changes, the birds change. It's amazing how that works. When the tide's always out, this area right here can be covered by dunlin and other shorebirds. And there's a common goldeneye, there's a scop. Eagles in the trees. We got stuff all over the place. The two birds that surfaced right in front of us here, those are female greater scop. There are two of them now. And it's the time of year when the ducks of all persuasions start to find their mates and get together. And there's a female common goldeneye right there. And always with the scoters. Horn grebe just dove. It's a wonderland. And this is the fourth shelter in the series. This is fourth leg. And yet again, this is another great place to have handy on the rainy days. It just really works to come under here. Great place for lunch. And right here is the point where the water gets a lot deeper. And on the rocks out there, actually old concrete blocks, there's a male common goldeneye perched there. And it's really odd because this is a bird that spends most of his life on the water, and to see it perched on the concrete slab is something different. We always look for things that are different. And over here to the left, you have a flock, a small flock of greater scop, male and female. And we'll start to see more of them and more of the diving ducks along here. And if you look along the rocky shoreline there, it's a great place for shorebirds like black turnstones, sanderlings, and dunlin to perch primarily at high tide, because when the tide comes in and it's too high to feed on the mud flats, they find places to perch and rest and wait it out. So now we can proceed from here to the Jorgensen Pier, which is the highlight of this particular walk. So let's go that way. Right out front we have a good mix of diving birds here. There are 3 or 4 common goldeneye and a male and female bufflehead toward the rear. And as I said, this is deeper water diving ducks. And the common goldeneye and the Barrow's goldeneye are 2 of the more common ducks that we'll see, and probably out at the end of the pier, when we get there, we'll have a good look. And hopefully, long-tailed ducks. There's always that potential this time of year, right up until April. The end of April, actually. So let's go, Debbie. We're approaching the end of Marine Drive, and we're going out to the Jorgensen Pier, which is named after Jim Jorgensen, who's really and truly responsible for Marine Park and all the great things that have happened to this part of Blaine Harbor. And hats off to Jim. People used to be able to drive all the way out to the pier and crab and do all kinds of things, and it turned into... And here we are on the Jorgensen Pier, as I mentioned before. It's named after Jim Jorgensen, the guy that put this all together for all of us. And as we walk out on the pier, which is very popular for crabbing in season, this gives us a huge view of Semiahmoo Bay, the channel between Semiahmoo and the big expanse of Drayton Harbor, which is one of the #1 wintering places for waterfowl in Puget Sound. This is actually Semiahmoo Bay and Drayton Harbor are actually what made the Great Washington State Birding Trail come alive because of the potential for birds. We have long-tailed ducks here, which are Arctic ducks that come down every winter, and you can hear them oftentimes before you see them. Common loons, red-throated loons, and Pacific loons will mass between Crescent Beach and Semiahmoo, numbering as many as 2,000 in the middle of spring before they start to migrate and head north. And we'll walk around the broad pier, and we'll walk over this way and have a look at the cormorant nesting colony on the harbor breakwater. This is the latest addition to the waterfront tour, and it's been an immense help for my field trips along here because we don't have to go through the muddy muck in the field or option for the highway, the blacktop. Here's the brand new trail, and you'll see it's wheelchair accessible. It's definitely user friendly, and this entire expanse of the marina is always open just the way you see it. And during the springtime, there can be as many as 50 or 55 whimbrels, which are large shorebirds that feed and forage on the mud flats here. And this trail leads us right to the boat launch area, which is oftentimes another rich spot and our last stop along the trail before we head back to the parking. And right out resting on the water is a male common goldeneye. And this is typical of this area right here, to have a lot of birds that feel comfortable enough. There's a buffer between the trail and the waterfront, the docks where people walk, so they can kind of split the difference and they feel comfortable in there, not threatened at all. And we continue the march. And here's the male common goldeneye that we saw earlier, a little bit closer, a little bit better light. Love the reflections of the masts in the background. And just over to the left, really close, is a common crow, an American crow actually. He's posing for us. And when you're counting birds, every bird counts as 1 point. So a crow is worth as much as an eagle, the way I see it. Look at this sky, would you? I don't know. What do we do to deserve this? Yeah, we'll walk down the path and we'll take a left and follow it. And the boat launch is just to the right of the building there. Have a pair of horned grebes right on the corner here. They've done a great job with this part of the park. There's one of the grebes, and they're actively fishing right now, so they're up and they're down and all over the place. This is the last leg of the field trip before we head back to the parking area, and this is one of my favorite spots. This is the public boat launch area, and oftentimes the dock out here will be covered with dunlin. I've photographed as many as 10,000 dunlin right in this tight area right here, and generally they come in similar to the dabbling ducks like the pintails, and they will just flood the backside where the high tide affords them enough space to cram in about 5,000 or 10,000 birds. They'll be out on the rocks of the breakwater, and that's why there are black oyster catchers nesting here, the large cormorant colony, any number of birds. It's got a little storm wash up here. and there's a beautiful flock of northern pintails right over here. I recommend taking this field trip anytime. It's just a good place to be. Pull out your little pocket camera, take a few stills, add to the scrapbook. And here we come to the end of our field trip, right where we started. And all your cars are parked right out here where you left them. It's pretty convenient. Back to point A. And we're witnessing a beautiful sunset, as you notice. Absolutely stunning. This is the time of day that you really reflect on what you've seen, what you didn't see. And it's just a perfect way to end a good field trip, looking out over the poplars. And I want to thank everybody for coming. It was just one of the best field trips ever. The weather was fantastic. The birds will only get better, so come back next time. We'll have it again. Thank you.